How did people start measuring distance at sea where it's water all around? This was a massive problem for ancient mariners. With no landmarks, you were totally lost the moment you lost sight of shore. Eventually, two breakthroughs enabled open sea travel. The first was the discovery of magnetic stones, and the concurrent discovery that the earth itself was magnetic. This lets you build a compass and find north, no matter where you are. The second is the development of celestial navigation. There's no landmarks at sea, but on a clear night the sky fills with hundreds of them. If you know what day it is, and approximately how big the earth is, you can chart what stars should be visible from what points on the globe, and in what direction. Following the sun, moon, and stars with the aid of star charts and a compass was the complex, but accurate method pre-industrial sailors used to reach their approximate destination across the open ocean. Once accurate maritime clocks were developed, the system became extremely accurate. If you know exactly what minute it is, and know exactly when stars should rise, and set at a certain location, you can determine how close you are with high accuracy. Of course, this all requires clear skies. Many ships lost course in stormy or overcast conditions, and ended up way off target. Why can a thermal flask keep items cold for 24 hours, but only hot for 12 hours? The rate of temperature exchange is proportionate to the gradient. A cold drink on a hot summer day is going to be around 5 degrees, when ambient temperatures are 25-30 degrees. A hot drink could be as hot as 100 degrees, if it's freshly brewed tea. So there's a bigger temperature gradient, and thus faster temperature exchange. Edit. Before you whine about my 5-year-old doesn't know those words, save your time and mine, and just read one of the 50 such replies already posted. There is also a larger temperature from common ambient. We still consider the drink hot vs cool. If the ambient temperature is 25 C, body temperature is 37 C. So water 5 C below ambient at 20 C might feel cold, but water 5 degrees above at 30 C would not be considered warm but only lukewarm. Coffee is often served at 70 C, so that is, might be 45 degrees above ambient. Water can't be colder than 0 and a refrigerator stop at around 5 C os it is only about 20 below ambient. A temperature of 20 degrees above at 45 C is likely not hot enough to be considered a hot drink, and that is the same difference as the minimum for a cold drink. Why is it easier to set a piece of paper on fire by its corner than on its center? Yes, convection mostly. Hot air rises, so the heat of the fire generates an air current that brings in fresh oxygen. Center of the page has the page blocking the path of the airflow until it has burned a hole. The short answer is surface area. Because a flame needs a balance of 3 things in order to start: oxygen, heat, and a fuel source, paper. If you have too much or too little of any of the 3 though, your fuel will burn much slower or not at all. In the case of trying to light a paper from the center, you've only got one surface for the flame to light, and on top of that it's a large surface, so heat will spread throughout the paper and just warm it up before it lights on fire. On the corner you've got 3 surfaces in contact with flame and only one direction for the heat to go. Vacuum insulates against conduction. It does not insulate against radiation. In fact, radiant heat travels better through vacuum than through anything else. Vacuum insulates against conduction. It does not insulate against radiation. In fact, radiant heat travels better through vacuum than through anything else. It has huge radiators, and it constantly pumps water through those radiators. The radiators cause it to lose heat by radiating it away, even though it cannot lose heat through conduction or convection. Without the active cooling provided by pumping water through those radiators, people inside would quickly overheat and die. Why does plastic turn white when you bend it? Plastics contain lots of very tiny holes. When the plastic is bent, the stress inside the plastic makes the holes get bigger. The empty holes in the plastic scatter the light, and so now the polymer reflects all colors of light instead of its original pigment, and so the plastic appears white. This is also how hard candy makers create the color white. They start with a clear thing of liquid sugar, then as it gets a little easier to work with they fold it over and over, quickly making it more and more white. Why does salt preserve foods like meat? Can't bacteria live in salt? Salt sucks the water out of the cells via osmosis. Compare with drying or smoking meat. Bacteria growth is highly restricted in dehydrated environment. High salinity is generally disruptive to cell membranes due to osmotic pressure. While some bacteria can survive in the cruelest of conditions, heat, salinity, pH extremes and so forth, these bacteria are generally harmless to humans. Remember that pathological bacteria evolved to thrive in the base physiological conditions of their hosts. There are bacteria that survive salt, however. Lactobacillus is one, and one that is good for us. We can preserve vegetables with salt or salt brine, because the salt kills other bacteria. The lactobacillus grows and excretes acid, which makes pickles, or kimchi, sauerkraut, etc. These vegetables can be kept in cool storage, but not necessarily the fridge. However, they will continue fermenting, so if you like the taste, then putting them in the fridge stops the lactobacillus from multiplying and making it more sour. Why clean energy isn't used more widely, and why is it added more expensive? Clean is a subjective term. Green energy is incredibly inefficient, and thus more expensive. Ontario, Canada has piles of wind farms and loads of solar farms. Dollar investment is in the tens of billions, and all the green energy has never been able to supply more than 4% of the daily output. When green energy costs more to make 4% than the other 96%, there is a problem. I don't have numbers on me, but I recall that nature gas power costs something like $0.06 per kWh, and wind costs something like $0.27 a kWh. Ontario is being bankrupted by green energy. Clean energy is unreliable, meaning it's not replacing dirty energy. Unless it can replace it, all it is expensive redundancy. The tech isn't there yet, it's not even close. New natural gas power stations and modern nuclear power is remarkably clean and incredibly effective, not to mention hydro dams. What is the difference between country A printing more currency and country B giving country A currency? I understand why printing more currency can lead to inflation, but am confused about why the second scenario does not also lead to inflation. Printing more money is like having a pizza that is cut as 8 slices, and you cut it into 16 slices. You have more slices, but it's the same amount of pizza. Getting money from another country is like another country giving you a second pizza. Not right now, but down the road you need to give them back a pizza, or possibly more than just one due to interest, but hopefully by that point you have enough pizza to pay them back. When you print money, you get more currency units, therefore each unit has less value. When a country gives money to another, one is losing money. There's no extra currency units being made. However, the second scenario can lead to inflation depending on some conditions. Sheikh Musarraf Mali gave gold to several villages in his pilgrimage to Mecca. The gold in those villages lost its original value because there was too much gold. I'm not sure if this is legit or just a legend, but the point still stands regardless. What if I print money secretly? The value of a currency unit is based on countless interactions between countless individual market actors. A quantifiable total of money doesn't really affect some dude's decision to convert 10 hours of labor into a trampoline. The currency is just a portable and storable method of trampolines, or substitute any other good or service. How does a candle not burn all at once? Paraffin wax only burns when it is a gas and mixes with air. To become a gas, it must first be a liquid. Liquid paraffin in bulk, like a puddle, conducts heat away from the surface too quickly to burn under normal conditions. Small flecks of it will burn, as they have more surface area compared to how quickly they lose heat through the bottom. The result is that as wax melts, the wick sucks it up. Then the fire boils it off of the wick, and it mixes with air and burns. The paraffin at the bottom, meanwhile, does not receive enough heat to boil. A little bit of it will evaporate and may get sucked into the fire, but very minuscule amounts. How does birth control pills work, and how can they prevent pregnancy? Birth control pills are doses of hormones, specifically estrogen and progesterone. The relatively large dose of estrogen prevents the pituitary gland from noticing the natural spike of estrogen that signals the pituitary to secrete the hormones that cause an egg to be released from the ovaries. It's like turning up your music really loud so you don't notice your phone ringing. The progesterone also affects the hormone signals for egg release, albeit through a different mechanism, as well as makes the uterus inhospitable for both egg implantation, in case one is released and fertilized, and sperm motility, by thickening the mucus in the cervix to make it harder to swim through. How is the universe infinite? Think of the observable universe as a bubble, with you in the very center. We can only see to the edge of the bubble, which keeps getting further away due to the speed of light only having so long to reach us since the universe began. But, just because we can only see to the edge of the bubble from our place, does not mean that somewhere outside the bubble there is no other place with its own view of the infinite space outside our bubble.